I'm begging you. There's homeless drug addicts in front of the schools. My children aren't safe.
Look, if you were a transgender migrant, I could get you a free pussy.
Let's move the drug addicts closer.
Bass already solved crime. I endorse her.
Next!
Please, I just want to rebuild my home. It's been over a year.
Mom, look!
This is a machine. If we want to burn this town to the ground, pull through that!
I feel so close.
You can do it, Spencer!
Now.
What does dangerous Spencer Pratt have in mind for Los Angeles?
I make a living giving drug needles to unhoused individuals, and Spencer wants to put me out of the job.
Spencer wants to force me to get treatment and turn my life around instead of dying on the streets. What kind of bully forces people to do things?
As a busy mom, running away from the crazy drug addicts in our park is the only exercise I get. Spencer wants to get rid of them. Does he want me to be fat?
A vote for Spencer is a vote for change. Why would you vote for change when everything is fine? Stay the course with Karen Bass. Smile, damn it!
Don't take the bait. Stay the course with Bass.
He reposted an AI video.
I think it's a very dangerous trend.
I mean, I was kind of freaked out.
150% fiction. His social media is now taking on a violent turn.
Okay, Karen, you want no violence?
Doozy of a dookie, crap on the sidewalk, pinching a low-faroo. Doozy of a dookie, crap on the sidewalk, pinching a low-faroo. Just a wave of my stick to finish the trick. Crappity, poopity, poo.
This is where Mayor Bass lives. You notice something? Or here, where Nithya Raman's $3 million mansion sits. They don't have to live in the mess they've created where you live. This is where I live. They let my home burn down. I know what the consequences of failed leadership are. That's why I'm running for mayor. For my sons and the rest of us Angelinos that want to stop these corrupt politicians from destroying our city. We are going to get the golden age of Los Angeles back.
Okay, so we've got a panel of your average Los Angeles voter to test some of your policies and see how we're doing.
First question, who thinks Mayor Bass did a great job responding to the fires?
Didn't she go to Ghana?
Okay, great feedback. Next question, who thinks Mayor Bass did a great job with the Palisades rebuild?
What rebuild?
Okay, but you agree she's addressed the homeless problem, right?
There's literally homeless people smoking crack at my kids' playground.
Ask them about raising their taxes to pay for crack pipes for drug addicts.
Nobody wants any of this. We just want to feel safe, our loved ones to be safe.
Regular neighborhood maintenance, common sense.
Fuck. Pratt's gonna win, isn't he?
We should probably skip the next debate.
homeless encampment is growing tonight near one of LA's wealthiest communities. Tents are springing up and trash is beginning to pile up along San Vicente Boulevard, just across the street from the Beverly Hills city limits.
Residents say the encampment is affecting their quality of life and they want something done about it. John Fenolio went to the Beverly Grove neighborhood to see it for himself.
Along San Vicente Boulevard near Beverly Hills.
What's happening is a complete and utter disgrace.
And it appears to be getting worse.
It's not like we want to be here, but this is the safest place that actually any of us could find.
James Boss has lived on and off the streets for more than 13 years. Recently, he and dozens of other homeless residents have been camping on medians and sidewalks near the upscale Beverly Center, which borders Beverly Hills.
A lot of people say this area in particular has seen an increase in people setting up their camps and stuff like that. Why is that? They told us to come over here. I mean, the sheriffs and the police department told us to come over this way because they were going to offer us housing.
The LAPD tells KTLA it cannot confirm if there has been a directive for officers to tell unhoused people to move to the area. The LA County Sheriff's Department says no such directive is in place. While the city of LA has an anti-camping ordinance, it's not strictly enforced. But in Beverly Hills, located on the west side of San Vicente, there are no encampments. They are outlawed.
As soon as you put a tent on that sidewalk over there, the Beverly Hills is going to tell you to put it down and come back over here.
Beverly Grove residents say they are fed up.
They're fighting at all hours of the day. They're doing drugs. They're selling drugs. It's out of control. We pay so much in property tax. We pay so much in income tax. It is not fair for us to live like this and to not sleep at night.
You reached out to your council member?
To Katie Yaroslavsky, and her office just sends a boilerplate email saying there's nothing we can do.
Council member Katie Yaroslavsky, who represents the area, releasing a statement saying in part, "My home is within walking distance of these encampments. What these small businesses and the surrounding communities have had to endure is unacceptable. My staff and I have been doing everything we can to manage the situation while working hard to locate housing and services."
This is people trying to survive.
You'll take the help if city officials will come out here and offer it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. If they could come out here and offer it.
Micah Scher, we've been talking to people who have lived here for 35 plus years. They say the encampment has returned, it's expanding, and essentially a ticking time bomb, but there's disagreement within the city about what to do here.
And it just causes mayhem, period. We've seen it.
Drugs, violence, threats. Dumping and human waste has led to a rat infestation. These are just some of the issues stemming from this persistent Venice homeless encampment. Craig Rivero says as recently as last week, there was a brawl between people living in the sidewalk tents, not to mention the 40 calls for service to LAPD in the last year, which include complaints of assault, battery, car theft, and domestic violence, to name a few.
The city of Malibu is suing the state of California and city of Los Angeles over the Palisades fire. The lawsuit claims that government failures worsen the destruction. NTD's Christina Corona tells us more.
The city of Malibu is seeking accountability months after the Palisades fire tore through the community. It's asking for damages from the state of California as well as several state, county, and local agencies. In a 66-page complaint, Malibu says the wildfire destroyed more than 700 homes and dozens of businesses, leaving burn scars along the Pacific Coast Highway and damaging areas like Carbon Beach. City leaders say Malibu's entire character changed after the blaze burned down parts of the beachside community. The complaint says the fire was not an act of nature, but a result of what the city calls unlawful conduct and failures in inspection and emergency preparedness. The lawsuit claims officials prioritize protecting rare and environmentally sensitive plants over clearing hazardous vegetation near the site of the earlier Lockman fire, a burn area that allegedly reignited just days later. The city argues that state employees hindered firefighters' efforts to cut dry brush and remove fuel, even though hotspots and active burn areas were still visible. The lawsuit seeks to recover financial losses, including costs of emergency response, infrastructure repairs, environmental restoration, and lost revenue from tourism and local businesses. Malibu Mayor Bruce Silverstein says the decision to sue was not made lightly, adding that the city has a duty to protect residents and taxpayers while continuing to work with regional partners. The state of California and the city of Los Angeles have not yet commented on the lawsuit.
Is learning new information about a story we've been covering from the very beginning. Text messages obtained exclusively by News Nation allegedly show the state of California knew there was smoke long before those deadly Palisades wildfires fully ignited, but they did nothing about it. Those small embers would eventually grow to destroy 7,000 homes. It would kill 12 people. Those text messages, they were never turned over, despite a December court order instructing California to give all the texts, all the emails related about the wildfires to the judge. Simple mistake, massive cover-up. News Nation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh is live in California with the latest. Rich, you and I have talked to so many victims who have lost everything. This is so disturbing. What are you learning tonight?
Hi, Anna. Yeah, this is an infuriating story. Thousands of Palisade residents who lost their homes, they're suing the state of California. It's a massive case worth potentially billions. In December, a court ordered the state, the California State Parks, to turn over all these texts and communications. Turns out they did not. They withheld key texts from these Palisades victims in this case. We have the proof.
On January 1st, 2025, an initial fire known as the Lockman Fire spread atop the Palisades. Firefighters fought the fire and the next day pulled up their hoses and left. But 6 days later, the fire rekindled into the Palisades Fire, killing 12 and taking 7,000 structures. The question, was that initial fire extinguished? An LAFD firefighter, Scott Pike, would later testify no. He saw ash and smoldering embers.
I didn't even want to use my gloved hand because it was hot. So I just kicked it with my boot to kind of expose it. And it was like red hot, like coals. That was still smoldering and they weren't crackling.
He marked it on this map in his deposition. After the firefighters left, 2 state parks employees took photos in the same area where firefighter Pike saw that smoldering ash. Later, when their boss asked what they saw that day, they wrote, "I told her there was smoke, smoldering roots popping up here and there, and we had to take care of that." That was in the same area where the ATF determined the Palisades fire started 5 days later. But as News Nation can exclusively report, the state never turned over their photos or this text message.
It proves that the state knew that there were smoldering embers in a dangerous condition on its property in the days leading up to the Palisades fire, and yet they did nothing. Nothing.
Firefighters also testified that a state parks employee named John Oda assured them that their team would be patrolling for a couple days, as it was state land.
He had stated he's going to be here for a couple days, him and his crew patrolling the area.
That was on the 1st, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever return to the scene of the fire after the 1st?
No.
On January 7th, 4 hours before the Palisades fire ignited, a state parks employee texted, quote, wow, the burn scar is doing its best Dust Bowl impression. Be safe out there.
And we say, until you know for certain whether it's ash or smoke or something else, you go out and you investigate it. It's your obligation when you see this. You got to go out, call the LAFD back, call CAL FIRE out.
4 hours later, the Palisades fire ignited.
The state of California has withheld critical text messages. It also hasn't provided a single email despite a court order. How do you make sense of that?
They don't want us to see the evidence that proves our case against them. And these text messages prove there were things happening on their land in the days and even hours leading up to the Palisades fire that had they acted, the Palisades fire would not have happened at all.
Now, California State Parks sort of digging in here. I just got a statement from them. They say California has and will continue to comply with all court orders surrounding discovery in this case. Ultimately, Hannah, this is going to be up to a judge. It's going before a judge on May 20th. The judge could decide, if those texts weren't handed over. We have the email chain proof. She could ultimately rule in favor of the Palisades victims and just declare the case. That's the most drastic measure, but there's a series of other measures she could decide on. That remains to be seen.
Why are we here today?
Because they let it burn.
Truth? They let us burn?
They let us burn.
They let us burn? They let us burn? They let us burn? They did. They let us burn. And you know what? We're not going to stay down. That's not going to happen. So let me tell you what's going to happen today. We've got about 12 speakers. I'm going to kick it off. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell you about their accountability. We're going to tell you about the 10 steps that we believe that we can take to build this thing back. And then at the end, we're going to hold them accountable. They need to be transparent and accountable. The days of gaslighting should be over. Am I right? I want you to raise your hand if you lost your home in this fire. Keep your hands up. Keep them up. I want you to raise your hand if your home is toxic and it's standing. Keep them up. Everybody, keep your hands up. I want your hand to be up whether your home is burned or whether it's toxic. Now, I want you to put your hand up if you ever lived in the Palisades and your home was burned or toxic. All of us. Yeah, that's what I expected. We're a deeply affected group of people. We have been through a lot this year, and our leadership has not made it easy. So are we ready? Are we ready to kick this off?
I wish we were all gathered here for different circumstances. I wish I was here dropping off my kids at school, seeing you all at the grocery store, not marking the 1-year anniversary that changed all of our lives. Looking at your face, I don't just see my neighbors. I see people who we literally walked through the fire with. 1 year ago, we lost our peace. We lost our sanctuary. We lost the place that we felt was the safest in the world. For me, our home wasn't just a home. It was a place where we brought our babies home. It was the place I rocked them to sleep and dreaming of the years where I would raise my children. The same place where my husband grew up and had so many amazing memories of his own. forever. It was where we wanted to be forever. It was where we wanted to raise our children. And to see all of our dreams go up in flames, it wasn't just a tragedy. It's a heartbreak that stays with me every night. I remember the feeling of absolute disbelief and powerlessness as the fire approached on January 7th. Looking at my children and realizing that the one place that was meant to keep them safe might be gone forever. As much as that day was about the fire, today is why that fire was allowed and why they let us burn. Because the truth is, my family and yours were all failed. Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass will tell you the Palisades fire was an unprecedented act of nature. But nature didn't maintain the California state parks. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable what they let happen. It's unacceptable that 12 people died that day. People who lost their lives. We need accountability. We demand accountability. All of us are owed that, and our children are owed that. That they grow up in a state that actually protects them. We cannot let negligence be the new normal. We are demanding accountability so that no mother has to stand in her driveway and wonder if her kids are about to lose everything they've ever known. Thank you so much for being our village this past year. We have truly seen the best of this community in the wake of the failures. I would like to take a moment to recognize my husband, Spencer. Over the last year, I have watched him work tirelessly. Not just for my family, but for yours. He has been relentless in exposing the negligence of the state, the city, and LADWP. He's not doing this to make friends. In fact, he's losing a lot of people he once thought were friends. But he continues to do this work because he cannot stay silent in the face of justice. Yes. He perseveres because his heart breaks thinking of our barren community, the place he grew up, the place his parents lost their home, the 12 people who lost their lives in the fire. He does this all because he loses sleep at night watching our kids sleep in a bed that's not their own. They let us burn. We will rebuild. We will recover. And for the sake of our children, we will never stop fighting for the truth.
Oh my gosh, I got more water coming out of my eyes than LADWP had in both our reservoirs. Oh my God. Here we go. I don't have this part of my speech, but I'm just seeing everybody here and, you want me to be louder, okay? Here we go. There we go. I don't want anybody yelling at me anymore. Okay, well, I just want to thank everyone for being here. It's the first time I've been somewhere where I know everyone feels what I feel. Because you go around every day, people go, oh, how are you? Oh yeah, the fire, da, da, da. But it's like, I know everyone standing here feels me. So I just want to thank God for giving us all the strength, because honestly, I have more faith in this because you have to, because you think, why did this happen? Why is this happening? You got to believe there's a bigger reason. I got it. Otherwise, we're all effed. Okay, I'm here today to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the worst day of my life. On January 7th, 2025, Heidi and I lost our home. We lost every material possession we owned. My parents lost their home too, and with it, decades of memories made inside those walls. I grew up in the Palisades. I moved through these streets thinking my 2 boys would grow up here just like I did, with that same hometown feeling. But then right before my eyes, the future I envisioned for my family burned to the ground. Standing here 1 year later, I have to tell you the most heartbreaking part of the past year wasn't being displaced or losing everything I own. It was the realization that all of this was preventable. We are standing here amongst the ashes of our once beautiful town because the state and local leaders let us burn. Gavin Newsom and the state of California let brush grow wild in Topanga State Park for 50 years with no prescribed burns and no wildfire maintenance. Gavin Newsom and the state of California created an insurance market so hostile that every major carrier stopped writing policies and dropped our families and our neighbors just before the sparks flew here in the Palisades. Gavin Newsom and his state park policies actually literally dictated that we let the Palisades burn. And his park rangers put kindling over the smoldering embers of the January 1st Lockman fire, which would ultimately ignite the January 7th Palisades fire that burned 7,000 structures and took 12 lives. Janice Quinones and the LADWP left our reservoirs empty despite collecting a salary of $750,000 per year.
Satan.
The LAFD failed to deploy sufficient firefighters, fire engines, and firefighting resources, whether it be due to lack of budget, lack of knowledge, or simply DEI. And while our lives were literally burning to the ground, Mayor Karen Bass was in Ghana. We all cope with loss differently. I coped with mine by eating burritos and putting every ounce of energy into uncovering the truth. And the dirty facts I've uncovered this year have completely blown me away. They have changed the way I view the world forever. I used to think my taxpayer dollars funded a functional city and a state government whose infrastructure and essential services would be there when I needed them. But I was completely naive. Our elected officials were warned for years about brush management, about the homeless crisis interrupting our fire safety, about our city's crumbling infrastructure, but they did nothing. They all stood by while our community became a tinderbox. And when the photo ops were done, they retreated into their office and buried fire victims in bureaucracy. Despite record-breaking cleanup by the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers, and despite nearly $4 billion in loans approved by the SBA, most fire victims cannot rebuild due to building permits and city regulations. This isn't just a political failure, it's a moral one. You know, I've spent a lot of my life in the public eye, and I've seen the games people play. I know the scripts they follow and the masks they wear, but this past year has stripped all that away. I have looked at my kids and my wife, I've looked at my family and my neighbors, and I have realized that the city I love is being managed into the ground by people who don't have the courage to actually lead. NGOs, nonprofits, and unions are running this town. Why do you think $100 million in fire aid money is missing? The system in Los Angeles isn't struggling, it's fundamentally broken. It is a machine designed to protect the people at the top and the friends they exchange favors with, while the rest of us drown in toxic smoke and ash. Business as usual is a death sentence for Los Angeles, and I'm done waiting for someone to take real action. That's why I am running for mayor. And let me be clear, this just isn't a campaign, this is a mission. And we are going to expose the system. We are going into every dark corner of LA politics and disinfecting this city with our light. And when we are done, LA is going to be camera ready again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jeremy.